Hello everyone.
Welcome to the Spirit Lounge podcast with me, David.
And me, Glenda.
And we are psychic mediums from both sides of the pond.
I'm in Australia.
And I'm in the UK.
And we're joining forces to discuss and talk about the world of psychics, mediumship, and all things spiritual. We might even throw some random life topics in there too.
So come with us now on our podcast journey. Let's see what's happening in the Spirit Lounge for today's episode. Well, hello listeners and welcome back to the Spirit Lounge, and I'm here with my co-pilot Glenda. Hello Glenda.
Hi David. Hello listeners.
How are you doing?
Oh, good. Yeah, good. Can't complain. How's your week been?
It's been one of those weeks, so I'm quite glad it's Friday actually, because I'm a bit cream crackered. That's knackered for those of you in Australia who don't understand Cockney rhyming slang, but there you go. Right, so we have a very special guest in the Spirit Lounge with us today. She is a medium, psychic, mentor, teacher, tutor, author, a social spirit app creator. Oh, there's other different names you want to put on it. She's a podcaster. That's it. Yeah, she's got her own podcast, Mediumship Matters, which I've been a guest on as well. And it is the one and only Hannah Macintyre. Hello, Hannah.
Hi. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
we're excited to have you. Very excited to have you.
So excited.
Yes. So, Hannah, we're going to maybe do things back a little bit backwards and start with what's going on now. So, Spirit Social, the new app. Tell us all about it.
Oh, well, you know when you get an idea and you think it's a good one and then you have to execute it and you have the holy shit. Sorry, can I swear on your podcast?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Have you heard Glenda?
That's a good start. First sentence. Should have checked that. I basically just got fed up with social media. It's absolutely toxic. I mean, I worked my butt off for Facebook over many years, doing loads of lives, building a community, and then I've got 30,000 followers and my posts are seen by 200 people. And what I've seen happening on social media is watering down of quality. So rather than mediums sharing stuff because they really feel that they've got something of value to say, they're sharing because they've got to, because the algorithm wants them to share something every day. And it just seemed like the whole industry was becoming really nothingy, bland and horrible. And people who I knew were really good mediums were just not getting traction, not being seen. And it felt wrong. And then I've got a lot of students who are taking their first steps into launching their mediumship businesses. And I just don't know what to say to them anymore. They can't get seen. I don't know. You know, when I launched my business, I would do a post, people would see it. The people that had chosen to follow me would see it. And now they don't. And so I was kind of musing over all of that kind of stuff and thinking about it. And as always, Spirit know the best way to get action from me. It's to get me annoyed. So I just kept getting annoyed by things until they said, well, are you going to do something about it? And it's really funny because my book, I'd earned some money from my book, not a huge amount of money, but some money. And I kept saying to my friend, I feel like this is for something. I don't know what it's for. My husband would have liked it to have been towards the bills, but I felt like it was for something. And then the idea came in of doing my own app and taking the power back and taking the control back. And so that's what I've done. And that's Spirit Social.
How can people find it? Let people know.
Yeah,
they find it, download it. Where is it from?
Download it from the App Store.
That's it. Okay.
Spirit Social. You get You get 7 days free trial, and there are so many. I mean, I know you're doing a dem for us, David. There are so many events. It's $2.99 a month. It's ridiculous. And because everyone's just really, it's like a big family. I know that sounds cheesy, but everyone can really see the vision. So everybody's just giving up their time to do things for it, to make it great. And so it's mind blowing, the amount of stuff on there.
Yeah, I'm on it as well. So people, get yourself on it. It is that spiritual space where you can share your spiritual stuff freely, whether it be inspiration or whatever it is you want to share, little mini courses, that kind of thing. So yeah, do go on, because I agree with Hannah. You know, Facebook has become, and TikTok, as we know, that's a whole other
You can't
story,
Yeah.
win.
is
You
completely
can't win.
saturated with people who are psychic as spoons. So come to the Spiritual Social app and you'll have a lovely time.
Yes,
Will.
I'm
There
signed
you
up.
go.
I'm like super
Yeah,
keen to watch it roll. I can't wait.
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. So Hannah, so to get to that point, obviously you've had your own journey, and I've listened to a lot of podcasts where you've been interviewed, as I'm sure other people have as well. So rather than delving too much into how it started, let's just talk about, once you realised you could do this, what kept you in it? What drew you to continue that journey with mediumship?
I have no idea because it's bloody hard, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely,
I
yeah.
Yeah.
mean, I think if a baby medium Hannah knew what was ahead, I'd have run a mile and with good reason. And I don't believe in callings. I believe that anybody can do this. I don't think I'm special, but there is just something in the wonder and the love of it that even when I'm having the worst time ever and I've quit for the 16th time and I'm eating my body weight in chocolate and weeping, I still then go, oh, but I could try this next time. And I end up going back to it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. All I can tell you is I have quit multiple times. It is a hard journey. It's not like I thought it was going to be floating off on a fluffy cloud and having a lovely time. It's much more in the human, much more in myself and my relationship with myself, which I was trying to escape, ironically. Um, and somehow I just keep coming back to it because I love it and I find it really, really fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the same for most of us, and both Glenda and I discussed this. There's multiple times where I've gone, do you know what? I can't do it anymore.
No,
I can't do
I've
it
had it.
today. But yeah, something always kind of drags you back into it. When I said, oh, I might stop doing one-to-ones, I then got loads of bookings for one-to-ones. Think, oh, okay, someone's telling me, David, shut up, get your head out your ass, and just get on with it.
One of my
It's like we
students had a one-to-one with you, David. They said it was absolutely superb, just so you
Oh,
know.
did they? Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
they said it was
okay.
absolutely mind-blowingly brilliant. So
Oh, well, thank you.
that's nice
I
to
might,
know, isn't it?
I might go red. I don't normally blush at things, but thank you. That's nice to know.
Suck it up, David.
Yeah. Um, so Hannah, with that, you might have already answered this question then. So, do you think that mediums are born or created?
Oh, I think it's a bit of both. I mean, I think it's there as a birthright for everybody. So I
Mm,
don't think by born, I don't mean that certain people are born with it and certain people aren't. But I do think there are certain attributes that suit certain types of mediumship. And so I do believe that anybody can do it. But if you're going to be a platform medium, you've got to be a bit engaging. You've got to be a bit
yeah.
interesting to watch. You've got to have a bit of natural pizzazz. Otherwise, you're not going to get any energy from the audience because they've all kind of gone into a comatose state. And
Mm,
then your mediumship's going to suffer. Whereas, I can be a lot and I'm aware I'm a lot. And so not everybody would necessarily enjoy a one-to-one with me because no, I'm a bit in your face. So I think there's different elements of mediumship, but definitely you have to work at it. And I think that there are generally the mediums that I think probably could do with a bit more development and working in the way that they're doing it and their style and their understanding and integration of the philosophies of it and the medium that they want to be and the ethics and integrity required to do it. They're the ones that believe that they're naturally gifted, so they don't have to put the work in.
we've
Mm,
said that.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, do you believe that some mediums get lazy when they're established?
It's an interesting question.
Mm,
Yes. Well, yeah, I do, I think. I've yeah, I'm trying to fight the answer, but yes, the answer is yes, Glenda.
yeah.
I've seen quite a few mediums in my time because I love it and it's fascinating. And it's such a weird thing, isn't it? At the beginning, you're trying to really prove your mediumship to yourself. You say you're
Yeah.
trying to prove it to
Yeah.
sitters, it's to yourself. You're
Yeah.
doubting, you're questioning, you're pushing, you're pulling, you're prodding, you're analyzing, you're not surrendering. And then you surrender to it and you go, oh, I'm actually doing it. And that's a lovely space. But there's always development available. Like the more I've learned, the more I've realized I don't know anything. Barely scratch the surface. And I think for some people, they do just end up coasting and staying in comfy, which I can understand.
Yeah, it's true.
True.
So,
Yeah.
what would be probably the most uncomfortable truth about mediumship that no one wants to say out loud?
It's never perfect. It's never how you want it to be. As a medium, you will leave every reading you ever do going, why did I get that wrong? Or I should have said that differently, or that could be better.
Mm.
And you can't please everybody. And
Yeah.
as an eternal people pleaser, this has been one of the biggest triggers for me is that I want everybody who sits in my company to feel like I did a brilliant job, which is all about my ego and nothing to do with my spirit connection. And, you can do a reading where you are like, wow, I'm cooking on gas. This is really good. And your sitter will think it's a pile of shite.
Yes.
And and
Yeah.
that's just the rub. That is the way that it is.
Mhm.
So when during your development, Hannah, what was it that really worked for you? Because I've heard some of the stories as well where you've been in circles and teachers have called you out in front of everybody in the class, which I think is highly unprofessional and degrading, and it should be done. So what what worked for you? So if we're trying to help other people develop their mediumship as well and give them different ideas of, you can learn here or that ways, because everyone has their opinion. You must learn this way. You
Yes.
must do this. You must do that. From your perspective, from your own experience, what works for you? What helped you along that way?
Oh, can I answer this with two? So
Absolutely,
for
yeah.
me, okay, good. For me, when I was learning as a student, it was the teachers that believed in me. So when I'd had this period of time where I had been really hurt and really bullied by some of the teachers that I work with, and I felt very lost and very unhappy, it was the nurturing teachers that helped me. It was the teachers that made me feel their belief in me that
Yeah.
helped me. It was a feeling thing. For me as a teacher, I think the greatest thing that helps students is going a bit faster. There's this kind of idea that we all have that spirit are sending us information piece by piece and it becomes very stop start in your mediumship, but they're not. That's us treating it like a conversation. That's us treating it like information and reaching, and that can cut you off. So getting into that mindset of everything that spirit wants to say is already with you, that you control the speed, and that you don't have to be slow and unfold every piece of evidence at the beginning when you're building your power, that you can bullet point it and go quick, and trust that when you've built a power with the spirit, if they want to unfold a piece of evidence and tell the story of it, that they'll bring it back in when you've got a power with them. So when you're building that power and that blend at the beginning, just go quick. Don't outrun your fear. Go faster than your fear, because every time you stop, that voice inside of you goes, you can't do this. You're a failure. Spirit's not really there. You're making it up. And so what you want to do is keep talking so that voice hasn't got a space. And the more that you blend with spirit,
Mm.
the more that voice is silenced naturally. So that would be my tip. Does that make sense?
It's a very good
Yeah.
tip, actually. Wish
It
I'd
Okay,
is.
good.
It
learnt some of that
is.
when I started.
Yeah.
Good.
What have you
So
got?
when
What have you got
you
now? What
went,
have you got now? So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's a good tip. Yeah,
What's going on?
yeah.
Why is it drying up? So Hannah, when we go through these like moments in time as a medium, we doubt ourselves or we go on we go on a tangent. How, and I'm not talking like just a week, I'm talking about like a couple of weeks or a couple of months that we go off track. Have you ever gone down that rabbit hole? And then how did you find your way back?
I have gone down that rabbit hole, and I don't. I this is that thing, Glenda. I'm not really sure. All I can tell you is working with spirit changed my life so much that I couldn't go back to muggle life afterwards. I tried to, I just couldn't. And I think funnily enough, I've been talking to my students about that this week. There seems to be a pattern that I can now see in development where you start off, you have no expectations. So every single piece of information you get, you're amazed. You say, I feel like your granddad's here, and they say yes, and you go, oh my God. And then you kind of acclimatize to that, and you kind of go, oh well, I always get that, and you want more and you want more and you want more. And so there's less of a surrender, weirdly, once your mediumship has proved itself to you a bit, because then you start making demands on it, you start analyzing, saying what you want. And then
Expectation.
we go through that kind of up and down bumpy bit, and then we suddenly realize that we can do this, and we start thinking, oh, maybe I could be a medium, maybe I want to do this properly with real sitters outside of practice groups. And then your mediumship turns to shit, and it's like a shamanic path that people have to go through, where they kind of they will get, I see it with my students all the time, they will get spirit after spirit, they've got a great blend, they're bringing through evidence, no one can take them. Like, you're sitting in this room and you'll go, I've got this and I've got this and I've got this, who am I with? Nobody. Crickets. And I think there's something in that where you have to learn your resilience, you have to learn to trust your abilities, you have to do the inner work. And the best way to do the inner work is being faced by failure, which isn't failure, it's just a process to help you go through. Because when I used to get a no, it used to totally pull me out of my power. It used to feel like I was wounded, feel like I was a failure. It would tell that imposter syndrome that it was right. Whereas now when I get a no, I go, oh, interesting, rather than, oh. And so you can keep your power a lot better. And I think that there's something in the training that spirit bring in where your mediumship needs to go to shit. It needs to go wrong. It needs to test you so that you can learn about yourself in that situation, reconcile that, do the dreaded mirror work, and come out the other side.
Oh, I hate the mirror work. I don't know how many times you have to go through the mirror work. But isn't it funny? Like, we have these, when we do one-to-ones or it goes to shit, you instantly put it back on you. You never put it back on, well, could it been the sitter? You know what I mean? You're always reflecting it back on you. So it's quite interesting, the journey of the mirror work.
Absolutely. And the journey of learning to believe in your own mediumship. Because I think we all feel so lucky to be doing it and so excited that we're almost expecting it to be taken away.
Yeah.
So with that said, what do you wish students would stop worrying about so much?
Wow, what do I wish? I would wish they would stop worrying about getting it right, which is the most annoying thing to possibly say. But I do say this to them all the time, like, when you're trying to stretch your mediumship, you are the vessel, you can only receive that which you've received before. Because you're in a state of duress, it needs to have an easy path energetically into you. And so I would rather have a student commit to it and say, I've got dad here, and them say no, than them to go, I've got a male energy. Because what you are doing is you are teaching your energy and your mediumship that you will commit to specifics. And in doing that, you will get it wrong. But as a teacher, I would rather they committed and got it wrong than gave a flibbity gibbet that anybody could take.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of, as you know, there's a lot of snobbery in the mediumship world, especially when it comes to the teaching as well. So when teachers say this is the right way of doing it, or that's the wrong way, you have to do it that way, what's your kind of response to that? Because I think there's a lot, to me, it seems a little bit like gatekeeping or a bit of control, that because this person's a slightly bigger medium, that must be the right way to do it. So what's your response to that as a teacher yourself?
I think you're quite right. I think a lot of the mediumship teaching that's been and gone has been about keeping people as eternal students. And that is problematical. I mean, sitting in the power is a great example. I was told I needed to learn to sit in the power. I spent the whole time going, am I in the power? Power, trying to strain myself into some sort of altered state where I would know I was in the power. And for me, the power is when you start doing the work. It's not something you can jumpstart beforehand. You know, I remember my first ever solo dem when I was absolutely bricking it. I was having to help with queries on the door, moving chairs, showing people to the toilets. And so I didn't just kind of float onto stage in my power and start the work. I had to create it in the moment with everyone looking at me. And when I did, it was a revelation. I realized that I'd spent years like sitting in the power every day, forcing myself, what's the power? I'd had teachers teaching classes coming into the room and saying, you're not all in the power properly. I'm going to go and come back in half an hour and you better all be in it by the time I come back, and stuff like that. And I still don't really know. I know what it is when I'm working with spirit, but before that point, so I think you're right. There's a lot of kind of teaching that is very restrictive. I think the best mediumship comes from finding your mediumship, your style, the way that resonates with you, because it is an energy thing. So all the time you're trying to force yourself to be in the mold of the teacher, you're not having a naturalness in your mediumship, which will hold you back in your mediumship from your connection with spirit.
Yeah, I used to hate
Absolutely agree.
when I started, and I'd pay someone, would go and pay to have, lessons, to develop in that, and it'd be a 2 hour lesson. Half that whole 1 hour I was sitting in the power, and I think I've only had 1 hour. What the fuck was that all about? Like, I'm just like dishing out the money for what? I can sit in the power before I fucking come on. So it used to irritate me so much about that sort of teaching. What's your thoughts?
Also, well, I completely agree. I've heard stories of teachers that, will analyze you while you're sitting in the power, like in a Zoom room, and then will say things like, some of you have got what it takes to be a medium and some of you haven't, because I've been watching. Who can, if there is a power you can sit in, who can sit in that whilst feeling like they're being analyzed like a specimen on a petri dish to being judged if they're good enough or not? Like, what? So, yeah, there's so many things like that. And I think it's a money thing. I also think that there's been a generation of teachers that have just taught what they've been taught.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of cyclical. Like, they were taught to do that and they had to go through that. So you better go through that, and haven't really questioned it or really analysed it.
Yeah.
I agree.
So talking about the money thing, because we did a podcast episode on this, it was released yesterday. And you've spoken about this on your episodes as well. So what do you say to people who argue that mediumship should not be charged for?
I don't really respond anymore. I used to try and validate it, but I don't. I've moved on. I don't even do that anymore. I go, okay, don't book. When people say to me, you charge £20 a ticket for a dem, I go, yep. Don't come then. Don't book then.
Yeah.
For me, it's really been a huge lesson, because I do have loads of money blocks, or whatever you want to call them. And it is really hard when you do for a living what you would do for love in your spare time. Like, it does make it kind of weird and awkward in your mentality, because you just want to do the work. But there has been a real understanding in me between, and I don't think we should charge ridiculous amounts of money. So there are some mediums I do think charge too much money for a reading. And I do always want it to be accessible. And I am by no means cheap. I'm not. But I want people who want to work with me. There's a difference between people who just want a reading and people that want a reading from me. And I want to work with the people that know me. They know how I work. They know my energy. They know what they're getting. They want to work with me. If you just want a reading from any medium to supplement the reading you had 2 weeks ago, to supplement the reading you had 2 weeks before that, I am not your girl. And I think that whether we like it or not, whether we're comfortable with pricing or not, pricing well for your work is how you attract the right people that are doing the research, that are ready to do the work, that are invested in it. And we all know the best readings you will ever do are the ones where there's a real need, where there's a real energy, where they are invested in it. They are looking for answers. They're willing to do the work. They're looking for that guidance from their spirit guides to tell them what they need to do. They really want that connection. They keep thinking about their dad and they just want to feel his presence with them again. If you want someone who just wants to have mediumship to see how you compare to other people, the reading's always going to suffer. And if they don't want to do the work, the reading's going to suffer. So I think pricing has to be reflective of that. You want people that are invested, that are excited to work with you, have looked at all the different potentials of different mediums and have picked you energetically because it's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
I
That's what we said,
totally
didn't
agree.
we? Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of mediums, and what's your thoughts on this overcharging and selling the experience rather than the evidence, like of the mediumship?
Yeah, well, this is an interesting thing, isn't it? Because I have said on my podcast that we are desperate for evidential mediums. And somebody said to me the other day, are we though? There's loads. And I said, are there? Because there are a lot of people that say they're evidential mediums, but then have an affidavit in their booking system that says it might be a guide. That's not an evidential medium. That is somebody that's going to make a spirit connection for you. So they're pricing as if they are the world's best evidential medium, but then they've got these kind of get out clauses. And so it seems to be that kind of area. You know, I mean, I just paid, as I've said on my podcast, a huge amount of money for a reading for somebody that was doing highlighted reels on TikTok,
Yeah,
showing how amazing their evidence was, and it gave me the heebie-jeebies. It pulled me into my imposter syndrome, and spirit just kept saying book, 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 and I was like, oh, it's a lot of money, but I did. And then it was the opening sentence was it could be somebody in your family, somebody in your partner's family, someone in your ancestral lineage that you're not aware of, somebody who's a spirit guide. When I get names, it could be anybody in you, your partner, or your children's lives, or your parents' lives, living or past.
Oh,
Wow.
it's quite broad, isn't it?
Yeah,
I was like, okay.
Bringing through the lady that stands next to you at the at the supermarket.
Exactly. And then you can't deny that spirit had a hand in it, because she gave me 17 names and I couldn't take any of them.
We laughed at that. Well, oh my God, I
That
don't know if
was
we
the
laughed
best.
or winced. I don't know. It was just- I mean, honestly,
I felt
What the
awful. But it was a really expensive reading. So I think there's a difference between being confident in your pricing. And this is what we were talking about not doing the work and not doing the analysis. Like if I brought through 17 names and none of them were taken, I would really be sitting with myself. I mean, I'd be refunding, if I'm honest.
yeah.
I'd be like, it didn't work today, but it's just one of those things, isn't it? So pricing should be a reflection of where you are energetically and what you're trying to attract, but don't be greedy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And when you first, I know I certainly felt this when I first put a charge in my readings, I almost didn't want to do it because I then felt, well, if I start charging, it means I've really got to be, I've really got to be good. I've really got to be perfect. As we said earlier on, there's so much focus on as a student, wanting to be perfect, to almost prove it to yourself that, oh, I'm definitely a medium then because I got all these things right. So did you have that same experience, Hannah, at the beginning when you first started putting a charge on things or not?
Oh, yeah. And so Spirit gave me a get out clause to work through my psychology of that, which was if I didn't feel like it was good enough, I would refund it. So I
Yeah.
never spent any of the money until I'd done a reading. And then, of course, I had to learn through that, just like Glenda was saying, sometimes it is the sitter. Sometimes the sitter is problematical. And so I did refund a few people that in retrospect didn't deserve a refund.
Yeah.
And so I had to learn that lesson as I went through it, because, I felt, well, they weren't happy with what I did. I thought it was okay, but I'll refund them because they're not happy. And then I had to learn, no, that's not right either. They don't really know how it works or what's happening. They're coming with their expectations, and we set a password on their deathbed. So just give me that energy, and yay, wonderful. Please, thank you. Please book again. So yeah, so it's kind of dual in that I had to allow myself the freedom to feel like I could fail to be able to do it, and to work through that. And then I also had to work through my own people pleasing within that.
Absolutely. And that, that makes a good medium, because you were doing the inner work. I have this thing about, I call them dirty mediums. When they're not doing the work. Not that we started the podcast talking about dirty stuff, didn't we?
I know. Where's this going? Hello.
Exactly. I'm wondering the same thing. Go on, cleanser.
No, but about, I always go, a dirty medium doesn't do the inner work. They don't do that reflection. And you can tell, like, I can tell when they're not doing the work, and you can see it through their work. And it just, I don't know, they don't gel with me, or the energy is not like reciprocated. But you have to do the work. You have to own it. You have to own your bullshit. So that's a hard one.
It is hard, and I think, like I said, I certainly, when I came to spirit, I was totally lost, totally unhappy. I was not the version of Hannah that you see now. Can't even really relate to her at all. I can't believe she was ever part of me, but she was. But all I wanted to do was escape me. And so when I went on the development journey, and I say this to my students all the time, all paths lead back to you. You can try and go out there, and it just, everyone's like, oh, I want to go astral planing, and I go, yes, so do I, but you have got to come home. You will go out of your stuff, and then you will come back to your stuff. You can't just go forever and be up there. That's not how it works. So every looping, twisting, turning path in mediumship development leads back to some inescapable truth about yourself that you have to reconcile.
Absolutely. Do you want to sleep in a dirty bed or a clean one?
Absolutely.
Simple as that. So, Hannah, what was one of the hardest lessons you've learned being a medium, but professionally and also personally? What are the hardest lessons, or if you can name a couple, or even just one, if you can, just pick one out?
I think for me, really,
there's always lots.
I know, like, where do we start? I could go into therapy right now. I could give you a list. I think for me, really, it's been self-acceptance. And that has been, like, it's the hardest thing. Like, you have a visceral reaction to a teacher or a lesson or a medium, and you go, who am I to have this reaction? What's wrong with me? I need to learn to be grateful for the lessons that spirit have put in my past. All this kind of spiritual gaslighting that we do to ourselves, and actually realizing that my instincts are normally right with what's right for me, and being in that kind of space. And also in my mediumship, there was a period of time where I was so busy trying to be what I thought a medium should be, that I wasn't being who I really am. And as soon as I started going, oh well, they'll just have to put up with me as I am, my mediumship got better. Everything got better. So all of this time I've been trying to mold myself into a more spiritual version, sort of apologizing to spirit, work with me as I am, but I will get better, I promise. And in that, actually held me back energetically, mediumistically. And that was a hard thing. I think the hardest thing for me overall is I have this real naivety that everybody in the industry is touched by spirit, and so cannot help but be wanting to be ethical, wanting to be good, wanting to do the work.
Love and light.
Yeah, but not even necessarily the cheesy version, but just that they're going to actually be trying. And I kind of bump up repeatedly and go, oh, they're not even trying. They're not even bothered. They're not even trying to be good. They're not even trying to be ethical. And that, I think, for me is the hardest thing, because I just assume that everybody is trying and they're not. No. Does that make sense?
But it's also irritating when, when you're at the beginning of the journey. And I mean, I do it every now and then now, when you're kind of like, you're holding yourself back. You want to put yourself forward. But then you're looking at other people that are doing a half-assed job, and they're doing it, and it pisses you off. and you're going, fuck, why aren't I doing it?
Yeah. Absolutely agree with that one.
I said to one of my students yesterday, it's okay, you don't need to take the leap because spirit will just show you a load of shit until you get annoyed enough to move. And I think that has a value. I can remember being like, oh, who am I to set up and charge for readings? Who am I? I don't feel like I know enough. Who am I to do that? And so spirit just brought me rubbish after rubbish after rubbish after rubbish until I got annoyed enough to move my energy. So yeah, sometimes you need to get pissed off with it.
You do.
Absolutely.
But and coming into, okay, this one's, I'm just going to put it straight blunt. Do you think some mediums are faking it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of mediums are working psychically and they think they're working mediumistically. So and I don't necessarily think they're all bad people, but I think they're very unaware people. And again, how can you not be questioned? I mean, how lovely to be doing a reading with somebody and just have the rest of the day off rather than just reliving it in your mind 4,000 times to see if you did it right. How lovely for them. But that is also what sets us apart. Like when I talk to spirit and say, I wish I could stop doing this analysis, they say, but that's how you've grown. So people without the analysis, I mean, the worst one for me, I have to say, is that spirit control everything. So you've got a grieving mother in front of you who wants to get hold of her son, and you get hold of her ex next door neighbor from when she was a child, and you say, well, spirit controls who comes through. What does that say to that mother about her son and the love of the spirit world? That is such a bad teaching. It's such a bad idea. I was taught that. I was taught that spirit controlled it. But then I realized that if I looked, I could always find who people were looking for.
Always.
And yeah. And so imagine all of those people that have gone to mediums and taken that step in desperate need, really wanting to make a contact, and their person's not come through. And it's basically, they were rejected once because that person died and left them. And then they've been rejected again because the medium says, no, they don't want to come through. But I've got your old work colleague, Linda. Like.
And I did a video on that on social media a while ago about the direct dialing. Because I believe we can do. I've done it a lot of times as well. People have said, I want to hear from this person. I've managed to get them, so I know it can work. As do you, Hannah. But there are a lot of mediums out there who have that same thing, that same idea of, well, I can't control who comes through. So what do you then say to those mediums, Hannah? Not just to the sitters, but to those mediums who give this narrative of, well, we can't direct dial. I think that's probably an old school teaching. But what would you say to those mediums?
I would say you can give it a go. You'll be amazed. I had a reading with somebody. The thing that taught me this was I had a really, really lovely person who followed me on Facebook when people actually saw my posts on Facebook. We had loads of interaction. So they knew me and they booked for a reading. And I'll never forget it because I got her mother through, and her mother was really in your face. And all the way through, I kept thinking, this isn't who she wanted to hear from. This isn't who she wanted to hear from. Got a good link, good evidence. Everything was taken. It was a really great space. And I said to her, but you're pleased your mum's come through, but it's not who you wanted to hear from, is it? And she said, no, I really want my husband. And I said, oh, let me see if I can find him, because I felt safe to experiment with her. And it was honestly like the mother was this huge wall of energy. And I went up and over her, and over the other side was her husband. And the first thing I said was, oh, he's really quiet. It's like he stood at the edge of the room watching everything. And she went, that's him. That's him. Yeah. And it was part of his personality that he would always let her mother hold court. He would always let her talk. And he would always just stand at the edge with his arms folded, smiling at her, letting her do her thing. But he was there. Yeah. He was absolutely there. And so try it. You can, when I first started doing this, I would do whoever I land on first. And then I would say, and do the second link in the reading, who do you want to hear from? And that was my way of doing it at the beginning. Now I always ask. I always just say, who do you want to hear from? Because I know what we really want is a medium that walks into a room and says, your father Peter has been with me all morning and here he is. But that's not really the reality of it. And I can get loads of evidence beyond, I want to hear from my dad. Relationship is one thing, but there's so many other bits I can get. So you're not going to affect the reading by just telling me the relationship of who you want to hear from.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
remember
and
being taught that at the beginning, when I mentioned the same sort of thing. And my mentor at that time said, well, no, you're going in psychically because you're actually fishing them out then. You're looking for it, whereas you're not naturally just receiving who's there. And I can understand a bit of both with that, but it also depends on the timing. If you, like, I used to have an hour, I could sit and play with whoever came through. When you got a half an hour reading, you want to get through who that person is come for. So there's a bit of controversy or a bit of understanding with both of that. Would you agree?
I think all readings start psychically because to me, psychic is seeking, mediumship is receiving. So
yeah,
for me, it's like directional arrows.
Mhm.
Tell me anyone who doesn't start a link by going, who's there? That's the seek. So whether you're going, who's there, or whether you're going, come on, dad, like you're still seeking a spirit. So your job as a medium is to accept that you start off psychically and move into mediumship as quickly as you can. And
Exactly.
so I would say that I believe that all links start with a look, but especially when you're nervous at the beginning. Like when you've got a good power and you're working on stage, there's some sort of mediumship flow that happens. Your first one, you'll go, come on, spirit, we better bring this. But from that point, it's all good. But when you're sat in front of somebody, your first initial thought is opening up and looking for the spirit. So that is
Mhm.
seeking. So that's psychic.
Exactly. Exactly.
and
That's
what's good evidence to you, Hannah? What would you if you were to go when you go to see a medium? I know I've talked about 17 names, but what's good evidence to you?
I want to feel them.
Absolutely.
I want to feel them. I know we said this before we went live. I know my nan's name. I know it.
yeah.
I want, and I think for most mediums, what they're trying to do is prove the evidence to themselves, and this can really cause problems because what I want to do is remember the funny aspects of my relationship with them. I want to remember what it felt like to be in their company. I want to know that they're still around and that they see me and that they're proud of me. That's what I want. I know how she died. I know how my granddad died. I know what they looked like when they were passing. I know all of these things. What I want to do is feel them. And that to
Yeah.
me makes great mediumship. And that's what's really important in a demonstration. Because if you're just doing like this, the facts, then everyone else in the audience will be turned off because they're not feeling the presence of the spirit world. But a really great dem is when you're not even receiving a message, but you get to be party and watch some people be reunited. When you get to feel that energy, that's great. That's great mediumship to me.
Absolutely. When
Absolutely agree.
everybody
Yeah,
else, yeah, everyone's like, oh, I just love listening to all the messages.
yeah.
It was just that's awesome. So
Yeah.
in saying that, Hannah, have you had anything go to shite when you're doing a dem on stage, and how did you recover?
Oh my God. I've had many things go to shite, Glenda. Many, 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 many. Loads. Probably one of the worst ones for me was I had this dem where I had the toilet was beside the stage. So everyone was just walking across the stage while I was working to go to the loo during the dem. That was quite hard. And that was the
Gosh.
one where the lady in the front row, I was bringing through, like, this man's a builder. He passes in his 40s. I know he passes of a heart attack. It's very sudden and unexpected. And she put her hand up, but then she kind of did the old, meh, meh. A yes that's not really a yes. Meh. And I went, am I not with you? Is this not resonating with you? Because I don't feel. And she went, well, tell me his name and I'll tell you if you're with me. And folded her arms. And then
Oh,
that just set the tone for the whole dem. Just the whole dem was just painful. It did teach me how to recover from stuff like that, but I did cry for 4 days.
I
It
don't
was
blame
awful.
you.
So I think there's been moments like that. I think you have to go through it at risk of repeating myself. You have to go through these things because one of the greatest lessons I've had is that when you offer something out, it feels like forever. It's like time stands still, 16 tumbleweeds move across the stage, no one's put their hands up, everyone looks at you like they hate you, and you think, oh my God. But the number of times that I've made the same joke, because I haven't got the capacity to think of a new one in the moment, of lock the doors, nobody leaves till this spirit's taken, and everyone goes, ha 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 ha, like that. And then somebody puts their hands up, and you go, is there something I've got wrong for you that is the reason why you didn't put your hand up? And they go, no, I can take it all. And then everyone in the audience goes, oh, like when someone wins at bingo, oh, that noise. And they've been taken. And now I wonder how many spirits I thought I'd got wrong because people didn't put their hands up quick enough for my ego or just were too shy. And I've had quite a few now that haven't been taken in the moment, and people have come up to me afterwards with very good reasons for not taking them publicly. And so one of my biggest lessons, I think I've gone off on a tangent, apologies, is always finish the spirit. If no one takes it, it's not your problem, still give their message. Because I watched a medium dem and no one could take the spirit, and he just went, wrong show, love, go find Sally Morgan. And everybody laughed. And I thought, oh my God, what if that was your grandma and you were too embarrassed to put your hand up, and then you feel like that medium sent them away? So I always give the message. I always stick it out and do it properly, so that if there is a reason why they can't, they still get the message.
And I guarantee
Absolutely.
they've messaged you the next day and said, oh my God, Hannah, I could have taken that, but this, and this. Always.
Yeah, always. And it's always because actually, I think as mediums, we forget what it's like to be in the audience.
Yeah.
Like I'm quite confident, but when I go and see a medium, I have the old, oh my God, I think that's for me. Oh my God, is that for me? I don't want it to be for me. Is it for me?
Yeah.
And the panics. I
Yeah.
don't want to, as soon as you put your hand up, everyone in the audience turns to look at you to see if you're crying. Like I can understand that not everybody wants that.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I remember being in John Edwards. You know, he can pack out a stadium, right?
Yeah.
And he's sitting there and he's like, I want to know who buried their mother with bread. And I've just gone, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. And I'm like, oh, no. And I had to put my hand up and I'm like, and then everyone was looking at me again.
Yeah.
Stand up with the microphone. Hi. Yes, I can take that. So embarrassing. So you get it.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know demonstrating is a passion of yours, Hannah. So what drew you to it?
Do you know, when I was in one of my first circles, some lovely lady whose name escapes me gave me a reading and told me I'd be a platform medium, and I told her to bog off. And I often wonder if she's like stayed in contact and been like, I knew it, or whether she just went away feeling like that was a failure, because that's the weird thing, isn't it? Do you know, I just tried it and I just loved it. I loved it. I did drama. And then, when I found spirit, I'd lost all my self-confidence and self-belief and become a different version. So it took me back to who I always was. And I started to remember that I love being on stage. And I know you and I, David, have talked about the love of sequins. I love a sequins. I love getting dressed up. I love the vibe of it. I love the feeling, even when you're absolutely petrified of the audience being there and you just go, here we go. I love the adrenaline of it, but I also love the speed of it. I love that they're short links. I love it's snappy. I love the way that you can really bring someone back to life and get it done, give a message, 8 minutes, moved on. Next. I love all of that of it. I just think it is the best.
Yeah,
And what do you think makes a good demonstration in your eyes?
I think should be interesting. And I think that's where a lot of demonstrations fall down. When you start to get edgy feet and you're a bit bored and you're uncomfortable in your chair, that is generally a sign to me that they perhaps need to work on their platform, and they'd be great as a one-on-one medium, because weirdly, it is about the evidence, don't get me wrong, but it should be interesting, engaging. It should take the audience on a journey. You should feel like you're getting the privilege of meeting somebody else's loved one from the spirit world vicariously on the stage. It should be fun. I like a lot of laughter in my demonstrations. I
Yeah.
think that that is a real high vibe energy, which then will make my mediumship better. You know, if I get an audience, because as you know, audiences have their own heartbeats, and sometimes you can take them with you, and sometimes you could crack the jokes, and yeah, it's just terrible. And you go, oh, this is going to be a long 2 hours. Holy
Yeah.
smokes. So you
Hell yeah.
just, you know, you have to take the knocks with it. And but when it works, there's nothing else like it.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to a medium that's holding back, wants to do it, or a medium, I don't know who that could be, David, that's wanting to book his own events and do his own thing?
Do it. When anyone says to me, how did you do it? I say to them, it's the least spiritual story ever, because what they want me to do is say, Spirit gave me a venue and an audience, and I just did it. No, what happened was I booked a venue, I paid out an eye-watering sum of money because venues are not cheap, and then I had to recoup that money. So I had to sell tickets. So then I sold tickets, and then I had to do the event because I'd sold the tickets. So all I do is back myself into a corner. So what you do is you say, David, by the end of the year, I'm going to have booked in 2 demonstrations, and you do it. And you just do it.
You hear that, girlfriend? Do it.
I've been told off here.
I can't give you any leeway, because if I go, oh, if you wait till the time feels right and the moon is aligned, then you'll use all the excuses. You have to
Yeah.
just go, right, I'm booking it. We get off this call, you find 2 dates in your diary and you stick to those dates, and you find 2 venues and you just do it.
Yeah. It's because
Okay.
people don't understand that you have to outlay that money, and it's a huge amount of money, and people don't get that. Like, they whinge about their little, what is it, £5, £10 that they've got to put out. But what about the money that comes out of, you guys' pocket? And when I have to book a venue, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think now as well, because of, I mean, I've had to stop Deming because I can't afford to do it. And that's at £20 a ticket. And the reason why I can't afford to do it is because venues have put their prices up so much. So I'm paying £650 for a venue on a Wednesday night because I don't want to work. And this is the thing, it's an energy thing. I don't want to work in somewhere that needs a dust. Like, you know what I mean? I
Mm.
want to work somewhere that feels good and exciting, because that sets the tone for the audience. So
Yeah.
you've got venues would essentially rather stay empty than have the bar sales on a Wednesday night. I cannot work the logic of it out, but they've all just crept up and crept up. Like, I used to pay £300 for one of my favourite venues. It's now £650 for 4 hours on a Wednesday night.
Wow.
And then, you put an event on Facebook and 2 people see it.
Yeah.
And you've got Facebook ads, and then Eventbrite are messaging you saying, hey, yeah, we take £3 per ticket, but did you know we can show it to a wider audience if you pay us more money? And it just becomes, I mean, I can give you up to date for Spirit Social at the moment on advertising on social media. It's costing me £12 per sign up. That's how expensive advertising on social media is now.
It's ridiculous.
And so if you take that kind of cost to an event, you've got the venue cost, you've obviously got someone you need to check people in at the door and help, and you've got to pay them. If I'm traveling, we've then got to pay hotel, I've got to pay for dinner, I've got to pay for petrol, and and then you've got the cut of Eventbrite fees.
Yes.
It's this massive thing. I'm not trying to put you off now, David.
No. It's the reality. It's the reality. But
It
that's why
is.
we talked about the
Yes.
money in the previous episode, because people think that we just turn up at a venue, put the chairs out, and then we're there. But there's
Yeah.
so much more behind this. Even the outfit, the sparkly jackets don't come for
Exactly.
free,
I
Oh
don't.
So
yeah, my
it's
outfit's going to be
all those,
expensive.
but it's all those things well that people don't quite see. Then the ones why they're paying 15, £20, which I don't think is expensive anyway, for a ticket, because of the outlays that we also have to have to put out there. So no, I get it, but it's important to talk about it so people understand the reality of this.
Yeah.
We're not just getting up there and it's all done. There's lots of
Mm.
stuff that we do before that.
Well, my last three, when I was trying to get the message through that I just need to stop for a little bit and reset, I paid to do my last 4 Dems.
Wow.
Wow.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really sucks. And it's just going to get harder and harder and harder.
Yeah.
Hence why Hannah came up with Spirit Social. Whoop,
So
whoop.
yeah, but that is why, because this is the problem, is that I see the people that are semi-fraudulent, the people that are misrepresenting mediumship, that are doing those en masse readings that basically we would all do for free on a pick a card, but they're charging £30 for it, all of that on a cyclical basis. They've got the money to do those things, they've got the money to pay for advertising, and that's how they're getting so many followers, because they're just recycling what they've taken off people. Those of us that are trying to stay aligned and true and truthful are constantly up against it.
It is just so hard. And again, then we fall into that, that, oh, should I be doing this anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
We spoke about it
sucks.
quite honestly in last episode, didn't we, Glenn, that sometimes there have been times where I've resented mediumship because I think, why am I bankrupting myself to do the
Yeah,
work to help people? And I'm trying to survive
exactly.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Because
how would you?
again, like
Go on.
both of us, and I'm not sure, Hannah, about you, but if it wasn't for our partners that we have
Yeah,
that help support us, I mean, like, fuck, I couldn't be doing this. Like, really? How do people do it?
Absolutely. I mean,
It's
when I've
hard.
been into this is the ongoing conversation. My husband's a financial advisor, right? So and he's like binary. He's all about the numbers, the figures. Does this make
Does he
sense?
ride your
Like,
ass?
and none of this makes sense. Like, why would you do something that makes you cry, puts you in a bad mood, and then go, I've got to pay to do it? Like, it's totally illogical. And so
Yeah.
trying to explain it to someone who's really logical is always like this challenge where I'm like, I don't know, it's just a guy, I just want to do it. And working in that space. So yeah, it is a crazy thing. I mean, my poor suffering husband, like I said, I got the money from the book. He's been paying all the bills all the time I've been in business. And I took that money and decided to invest it on an app. And I've got a massive couple of months with stuff on the app, and I haven't got the money to pay for it. And so I'm going to have to go to him and be like, hey, you're looking lovely today. Can I please? Because the invoices have come in from the developer. I've got to find the money. But yeah,
He's going to
absolutely.
be like, what you want, Hannah?
She's being nice to me. This is not natural. She must want something. It's financial again.
she must be sick.
Oh, it's
She must
so
be ill.
funny, but it's so true, and I'll guarantee a lot of us can relate to it. Oh my God.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Oh.
So come back to mediumship in general, Hannah. What is it? How do I put it? Is there, or what is there that you feel needs to be changed in
Mm.
mediumship now? Do you think we've become stagnant within mediumship, or do you feel things need to change?
Yes. I think that it's a really interesting time in the industry. I think the industry is
Mm,
having a tower
yeah,
moment, and we've got to
yeah,
watch it fall.
Mhm.
And that is heartbreaking, especially to me, who is like this Tigger of belief that good vibes and all of that. And then I'm like, oh no, actually, that does need to go.
Yeah.
So I do think the industry's become stagnant on its own bollocks.
yeah,
It's become expanded, but in a lack of truth. And of course, for the majority of people out there who were like me, who had no real idea that mediumship was available and all of that kind of stuff, you do fall into traps. You do fall into situations with mediums who haven't done the inner work, or perhaps haven't done
Mhm.
any work. And I think that needs to fall away. I think that there has been a whole lot of teaching that hasn't evolved people. I think there was some teachers that I sat with where you do a whole week's course where the implication was you had to be grateful, you'd paid for it. But all they would do was talk about their best bits. They wouldn't talk about the how. They wouldn't actually tell you how to do it. They would just tell you what they could do. And then you'd go to lunch and you'd think, God, that was shite. And everyone would be going, aren't we lucky? Aren't we so lucky to be taught by them? And that's kind of carried on. There's a lot of people teaching who haven't got to know their own mediumship first. And so that's going to have its own knock-on effect because they're just going to be recycling what they were taught and not integrating it and not sitting with it and not unfolding into it. And that I think it comes out of desperation. I think because people aren't getting seen on social media, they're not getting bookings for their one-on-one readings. So because they're not getting bookings for their one-on-one readings and they've invested a lot in their development, they're then trying to work out what else they can do to bridge that gap. And so they become teachers before they really should be being teachers. And I think that can be, I'm not talking about running a spirit guide circle or something like that. I'm talking about saying I'll teach you evidential mediumship when you've been working as an evidential medium for 2 months. Like,
Yeah.
what? No.
Yes.
Do the work out who you are. And we could almost do with some sort of structure where people, you need to work as an evidential medium, doing readings, demonstrating, being in that energy for a couple of years before you can attempt to teach it. But
No, we've both seen it where people, without mentioning names, Glenda, maybe if you're reading my mind, know what I'm talking about. But there are mediums who've done the work for 4 months and suddenly they're teaching.
yeah,
But what have you learned in those 4 months? Do you know what I mean? So I think there's a danger in that as well, because then you're teaching your almost bad habits, not necessarily purposefully, but you're teaching your bad habits to new students who then have those bad habits, and it becomes this, as you're using your word, a quagmire of just
Yeah.
trouble. I don't know,
yeah.
isn't it?
But I have to just trust in spirit and trust that they're, because sometimes, I'm not going to lie, sometimes I look at some of these unethical mediums with hundreds of thousands of followers while I'm scrabbling around
Yeah.
trying to get seen, dying at 250 views, even put my heart and soul into something. And I just think, hello, is anybody controlling this? Like, is the team in the spirit world that's supposed to be watching this stuff on holiday? Like, what's going on? But I have to trust that there is a path and we're all on it.
If you look at
But
it
then we
now,
go
the world,
into, yeah,
the spirit world's going to shit at the minute. Looking at
it
TikTok and all
is.
these
Yeah.
things going on, so I'd rather be out of that, to be perfectly honest, and get on with what I'm doing.
But then
Exactly.
so how do you feel about mediums critiquing each other? Or do we call it a healthy debate or unnecessary tearing down of a medium?
Oh, I think it
Because
depends.
there's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on. I personally feel we need to talk about what's happening in the industry. That's really, really important. However, we have to accept that we can be wrong and that our understandings are limited by our experiences. So all I can ever offer is my opinion in this moment, subject to change at any time in the future as the lessons come, because they do. I think the best way to show what it should be like is by doing it. I don't need, I mean, yeah, I have mentioned, the fraud debate on TikTok and my podcast and all of this stuff because it bears talking about. However, I don't see the point in saying it's this person or it's this person or it's that person or here's a critique of that. I'm just going to say this is happening in the industry. We need to be aware of it. You make up your own minds, but I'm going to show you what I believe is the best that I can be. And that, I think, is the key. And I think there's a lot of people tearing other people down to profit off it at the moment. And they're saying that they're doing it for the ethics to protect people, but they're not. They're doing it to propel themselves forward. That's a different thing. That's a different energy. So we have to be really careful. We do need to talk about dangerous practices and people being misled. We do need to show the reality of mediumship, but we also need to just shine our lights at risk of sounding really cheesy and be the best that we can be and hold ourselves in alignment. And that's one thing. I mean, I've really noticed the conditioning that has happened to me. I've got my vision for Spirit Social. So you would think, as the creator of Spirit Social with the vision, I would be totally on it and aligned with what I want it to be. And the other day, I caught myself going, I haven't posted. Wonder if I could just create 20 posts so it's all done and post one a day every day so that I'm creating content. And then I thought, oh, that feels weird. And I had to go away and sit with it. And I thought, that's exactly what I don't want. And yet my programming, I've been programmed by Meta. I've been programmed by TikTok. I've been programmed into the must create for creation's sake, not because it's aligned, not because it has value, not because it's from spirit or I really feel that it's important, but creation for creation's sake. And that has happened to the whole industry.
Yeah.
And even me that's trying to find another way, the thought behind the thought is still there, which is kind of scary.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is, but because back in the day, you'd have it all lined up, ready to go, post at this time, at what. I couldn't give a shit now. I just post when the download drops, when I feel is right, whatever spirit drops into me, what I feel someone needs to hear. That's the way I roll. I don't roll what time I should post or anything. I just don't have that mental capacity anymore for the bullshit.
Full-time job. Be a full-time job, just posting to be seen by 250 of your followers.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And some of that is to do with the ego, Hannah. I think you probably agree. Do you think that the ego ultimately could be the biggest killer of the mediumship industry?
Oh, yes and no. I saw your video about ego, David. So I think we're very similar in that I think it plays a part. There's no doubt that I wouldn't get on stage if I hadn't got ego because I love it. Like I love it. That gets me back on there. Even when I've had a crappy one, it gets me back. So I think it's about using it the right way. Yeah. And I think we have a choice how we use it, and everyone's forgotten that we've got a choice. And we've given all of our power to machines. You know, don't get me wrong, I love ChatGPT. I love it. It rewrites my podcast transcripts for me. It's saving me so many hours of work, but you can't give it everything. It can't replace you. So you have to find the balance within that. And I think ego is part of that too. We need to swing the pendulum back the other way. We need to be thinking, is this really, if my attraction vibrationally is a beacon, is this the beacon that I want to send out? Is this going to attract the right people to me? Or is this just a case of me pleasing a machine?
Absolutely, yeah. To be honest, I don't really like AI. I think you lose. It's good for some things, but I think it doesn't have soul. It doesn't have personality or feeling, or compassion. So, but that's kind of. But Glenn had.
It's good in its own little spots.
Yeah,
but not when they're giving card readings to a person.
Oh my God. I have someone that's doing card readings and they have their clients in front of them and I'll pull a card and then they type the cards in a ChatGPT and give them a reading.
I mean, I've had someone message to my podcast, this on my massive pile of emails that I've got to record responses to, exactly that. Somebody's put a great way to make money is to do AI readings. But to a certain extent, I think we've been facing that all the way through the industry. Like if I take the medium that I know of that has recorded like 6 videos and they seem like they're personalized, but they're not. It's just 6 videos and those videos go out to everyone that pays £30 for a card reading. And so there was, you go onto their TripAdvisor and there's this woman who said, me and my friends, we all bought one each. We all had the same video. So yeah, that wasn't created by AI, but it's the same thing. And so what we've got to allow, and this is the hard thing, I think, is seeing this kind of forest of rubbish, fakery, in various ways, AI and not AI, and I think defrauding people. And we've got to just stay true and let people go through that to come out the other side.
True. So, Hannah, if Mediumship was a reality TV show, what would it be called?
Oh my God. If mediumship
Spirit
was a reality.
Island, the medium games, who wants to be an evidential medium?
Oh my God, who does want to be an evidential medium? Lunatics. Oh my God. I think it would be something like I'm gonna go with the real house, the real mediums of whatever.
Beverly
But
Hills,
yeah, like it's just
the real mediums of Yorkshire.
yeah. Or like, hang on, what's my favorite one with Chriselle, where they sell real estate in LA?
I
I love
love that show.
yeah, like I love reality TV, so I'm probably the wrong person.
Same.
Oh, I could do this. But I think that'd be so valuable because I think part of the problem right now is that people are coming into this industry and it's being there's the people that are being seen, it's too polished. It's too, you don't, when I started, I was like, why am I flailing around feeling like I get this wrong all the time when everybody else knows what they're doing? So I think some sort of reality show where they actually show mediums shitting a brick, getting things wrong, making mistakes, crying into their pillow because it's 3 a.m. and they just did a dem and all they can think about is a spirit that wasn't taken. And all of that would really help people to understand the reality of it.
Yeah, because all there is out there, like any medium shows or documentaries, it's so serious. Like someone needs to put out one that's just, fuckery of mediumship.
Yeah. It should be called Fuck Around and Find Out. And
Yeah,
then, yeah.
exactly.
And then that will attract the right audience like a beacon for us. Because honestly, didn't you? Didn't you go, oh, yeah, I'll learn this? And then you found out. Then you found
Yes.
out what it's really like. But yeah, it it isn't like you think it is, but there's still magic in that. And I
Yes.
think it's way more empowering and than perhaps I thought the journey should be.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I know I'd
Yeah.
want to watch it. I'd be like
Oh
glued.
yeah. Yeah. Hannah, if you could ban one cliche phrase from mediumship forever, what would it be? Would it be all mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums?
Would have been, but now it's going to be Spirit told me.
Ah,
Oh my God, that I said to David, I want to do a podcast on that bullshit. Spirit told me I had to buy these crystal bowls.
Spirit told me that I can't come out. You just don't want to come out. Don't talk shit. Spirit told me not to do your course anymore. Can you refund me? No, it's in 3 days' time. Spirit didn't tell you that.
Oh my God, own it.
Yeah, it's that
It's
one.
like, what you
facial
reminded me
expressions
of
are
that.
everything.
The little blonde girl that does it. That, that look.
Yeah, sorry. Can't control my face at all.
I love that
Yeah.
one. Spirit
So
told me.
this would be the thing though. If we were on the reality show and somebody said that to me, you can't do that face to them. You can't go. You have to go. You'd all know what I was thinking inside.
I love it. Yeah, that Hannah does it so well.
I'm trying to fight it.
People, you've got to watch this on YouTube. It's just so funny. That could be part of our reality TV show that we create, Hannah.
You know, like how there's all beautiful clips of people at the beginning of reality shows. Mine would be
Yeah.
like, and then yeah, there's Hannah. Great.
But they're holding that apple, like.
Yeah,
I love it.
it
I
really
love
grinds my gear stick, and I've heard it quite a lot recently.
it.
Yeah.
I
Um,
No,
say
it's
it
true.
all the time. I say
Yeah.
it to David all the time. You know what I hate? Oh my
Yeah.
God. So if Spirit had a complaints department, what do you think the most complaints would be about?
oh, now from me or from the world as a whole?
The world as a whole. Like
The
if we
world as a
went to, yeah,
whole.
like,
I
yeah.
think it would be, I want this thing, but I don't want to do the work for it.
True. I
I
want it
think,
all.
that you only have to read for the general public for a very short amount of time before you realize that really what everybody wants is to be told that they are powerless. when you're working with the general public, they want to be told this is the future. There's nothing they would rather have a bad future that's set in stone than be told they can control and affect their reality if they do the
Oh my
work.
God. Yes.
And so I think the complaints department, because the people that would ring them would be the people that are like, I was told this was possible, but I did none of the work suggested and it hasn't arrived.
Oh my goodness. Can you imagine the complaints department? Far out.
You'd have to be a spirit to handle that. I'd get
Oof.
rude.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I've been there,
Absolutely.
done that, never again.
Yes.
So, Hannah, last couple of questions. These are just fun ones, really. If you had to
Yeah.
give up coffee, wine, or chocolate, what's going first?
Oh my God, that's my three faves.
I know. That's
Uh,
why I put it down.
it would have to be wine first,
Mm,
Um,
okay.
then
okay.
chocolate, coffee
Yeah.
last.
Fair enough.
But
Yeah, I'm with
that's
you. I'm with
hard.
you with all of that. Hmm.
Let's never make that my reality.
Yeah. Don't put that to the spirit world or the
Yeah,
No,
no, I
complaints
wouldn't
no.
function.
department.
That would be ghastly.
That could be another part of the TV reality show. If we took all three away from Hannah, let's see Hannah function for a week.
Yeah.
It would be awful. It would be awful. People would be like, she's not spiritual. She's really aggressive.
Uh-huh. There's nothing spiritual about her.
Yeah, she is foul. What is
She's
this?
gone into early menopause. There's something going on here.
She's a psycho. Yes, yes, I am.
There's
Yes.
no happy pills here.
Yeah, no one would want to see that. I mean, it would make great TV, but it would be awful.
So I have to ask, I ask every medium that comes on, do you believe that pineapple belongs on pizza?
Yes.
Ha, so suck it, David.
Oh, no.
Delicious.
See, I have
Oh,
to reach
no.
a certain amount of quota, then I have to get David to eat pineapple pizza live.
Yeah, pineapple salsa, David. Like the sweet and the savory. It's so
Yeah,
delicious.
it is.
Pineapple belongs in a cocktail, Hannah. That's where it belongs, or in a fruit salad, and that's it. In my
I'll
humble
have it
opinion.
always.
Yeah, it's so
I
good.
like pineapple, sweet corn, mushroom, and tuna pizza.
Oh,
Just throwing
tuna?
that out there.
Oh, throw it in the bin
Wow.
as well while you're at
I used to have that on the way back from the club when I was a
it.
young whippersnapper. I'd go to the kebab shop. That would be what I'd be eating on the way back.
Oh yeah, back in the
Oh,
day in the kebab
yeah.
shop on the way home. You get
Oh, it's nothing
dirty
better.
kebab, used to call it a
Yeah.
dirty kebab on the way
Glenda
home.
might end up there tonight. Shush.
Wow. Try the
Take
pizza. You
take
try the
photos.
pizza.
Like, do you know how often I want to send David photos? I'm having pineapple on my pizza tonight.
Yeah. Just keep rubbing away. He'll try it, then you'll love it. Have you never had it, David?
I have, but it's just not my cup of tea. Just not.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Do you have popcorn? What flavour popcorn would you have?
Oh, well, it depends what mood I'm in.
Don't you like the
Some
savory, the sweet and savory? I
Yeah,
love that. I love
yeah.
sometimes
it.
together, but then sometimes think, oh, I think I fancy a bit of saltiness today. I don't know why. It just depends what
Salty.
mood I'm in. Yeah.
You
Sometimes I go for
salty? I don't
yeah.
believe it.
Me never.
We got to get
Um,
Hannah into our group chat. Oh my God. So
last
if
question,
you,
Glenda.
yeah, okay, if you could design a warning label for yourself, what would it say?
Danger explosive.
Oh,
Without a
Good one.
doubt.
that's a good one.
Without a doubt. Like and that's one of the things, like I tried to be love and light. I can't do that. It's just not in me. It's just not in me. I
Mm.
am fiery. I am quick to react. I'm straight talking. Yeah.
Yeah, you're down to
And
earth,
so
you're
you
real.
should. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
real. And that's
Yeah.
just, you're my kind of girl. So
Yeah. So
love
Hannah,
it.
Ditto.
before we go, so let's talk about where people can find. Actually, let's just mention your book because I know your book is
Yes.
out there. And if I'm correct, you're writing the second one, or have you written? Have you finished it yet?
I've written it, but I need to edit it for like the 30th time, and I can't be
Mm.
asked at the moment, to be
Right.
honest. Like I've got too much going on.
Mm.
But it is on the list. So, but that one, I mean, when I sent it to my friends who edited my first book, they did say, do you feel better now that's out? Because it is my development journey and it wasn't an easy journey. So it is a bit of a bleat. I hope it's funny, but it is me bleating just because I want people to know. Or, you know, you
Yeah.
have all these mediums that say, I woke up and I knew I was going to be a medium. Here's one hardship story. Mine was nothing but hardship.
Yeah.
But yeah, You Are a Medium, You Just Don't Know It Yet is my how-to guide, which is what I really wanted out there because there was so much misinformation about how it works. So I wanted people to be able to have some sort of understanding of the mechanics so that they could unfold into it themselves.
And save a lot of time.
Absolutely. And is it available on Amazon or through yourself? Or?
On Amazon, click to print, easy peasy. I love it.
Yeah. Marvelous. And don't forget, people, Hannah's also got Spirit Social, the Spirit Social app as well, which you can find in your Google store and also your Apple Store, isn't it? The Apple Store as well. So go and download it. And also Hannah has her own podcast, which is Mediumship Matters, which is a very successful podcast where Hannah talks about, very similar to this, talks in a very down-to-earth and honest way about mediumship, about the journey, about spirituality, because it's not a bed of roses. Let me tell you, we can all attest to that. It can be very difficult at times, but it's important to talk about it, to acknowledge it. So when people come into the industry or start developing themselves, we're trying to not frighten people off, but set up the real expectations of what it can be. Because it is definitely a journey. It's not a 6-week course, as we always go on about. It is definitely a journey. But Hannah, we'll put all your links in the show notes as well. What's your website? Oh, and you've got the gateway as well. There's a couple of things to talk about. So,
too much going on. It's just hannahmedium.co.uk. Everything's on there. Fill your boots.
Marvelous. So, Hannah, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been insightful. It's been fun. We've really enjoyed it. Hopefully, people will get a lot from that. Get a lot of hopefully some inspiration as well. And some hope that although it's tough, keep on. If you're meant to do it, keep on doing it, and don't be put off. Don't be put off by, other people, shall we say?
Absolutely. Just keep at it. Just keep on trucking. Just keep on going.
Definitely.
Thank you. I've loved it.
You're very welcome. Anytime. And Glenda, it's been a pleasure as always, my darling.
Always. I can head out to the clubs now. No.
You head to the clubs now, yeah. So you're going to bed and we're going out and doing something else. Very strange, there's time difference. You're 9 hours ahead. I've only just got up.
Yeah,
and you're going to bed.
I know.
Well, anyway, we are just rabbiting on now, aren't we? So, people, thank you very much as always for listening, and we'll see you in the podcast, in the Spirit Lounge at some time soon.
Thank you so much for joining us in the Spirit Lounge today. We hope you enjoyed the discussion.
Yes, and if there's a spiritual topic you'd like us to discuss, or if there's a spiritual question you'd like our input into, then please send those topics and questions to us at glenda-marie1@hotmail.com, and we will get to them as soon as possible.
Lastly, if you could like and share this podcast, as well as leaving us a comment or review about what you thought, then that would really help us out and we'd be very grateful.
We would indeed. But it's bye from me.
And it's bye from me.
Join us again soon in the Spirit Lounge.